We're here at Home Farm Touring Park in Lincolnshire, and I'm here to review the latest Benimar Tessoro T861. This is the Ford-based Benimar range, but this is their narrower model. I've only just turned up on site, so it's a beautiful campsite. It's right by a lake with moorhens and geese, and I've even got a picnic bench, so I might be using that over the next few days. I've just woken up, and despite the fairly high temperatures last night, I had a pretty good night's sleep, kept all the windows and vents open, and there's a roof vent in the bedroom for to help, which did actually help. And while the hot water's heating up the shower, I thought I'd talk you through some of the outside features of the van. It's a Ford Transit. You can see it's got the bigger engine as it's shown on the side in pretty big letters, alloy wheels, fog lights, big overcab roof light, and framed aluminium windows. Just above the one here, just above the window here, you can actually see the vent for the kitchen extractor fan. It's a proper vent, so it does extract the air. It's a good thing. Electric hookup cable, and this is the barbecue and outdoor shower point. Let me just show you here. Comes with get the hose, and you plug the hose in. I've got a little pack here, so the hose just slots in, and then obviously you've hopefully got, oh yeah, look, and then this is the barbecue point, so you just literally slot that in, and you can have your barbecue out here on your pitch. While we're in the garage, you can also see this is where your Cornish steady winder is. The awning winder's also in here, but it's not got a dedicated storage point. There's a fire extinguisher, and then there's a light here, so just switch it on and off. There's also a spare wheel. It's really rare these days. Most motorhomes come with a fix and go kit for spare wheel because they are heavy. There's also a big size garage door on the other side, and there is external access. There's access in here to the to one of the storage pockets under the beds. So it's actually a really good space. At the back, we've got the fitted bike rack as standard, the reversing camera, high level brake light, and then the rear panel. This rear bumper here is split into 3 sections, this big piece and then 2 smaller pieces. Makes replacing bits if you have a bump a lot easier, a lot cheaper. And round on this side, you've got another garage door. It's a big one, same size as the other one. The water heater outlet pipe, the wastewater drain, and the freshwater filler and the toilet. And just before I go and hop in the shower, I forgot to mention the gas locker is located here, just behind the door. It is it takes 1 bottle, but that only has to power your hob and oven. So it's it doesn't need to be huge. This one is it's like a 6 kilo. Yeah, it's a 6 kilo. Sits in a lower locker with proper holes. It is a proper gas locker. Plus, there are corner steadies at the back corners. The winding handle sits in the garage. It's got dedicated storage. Should you feel you need them at night when you're sleeping in the bed, when you turn over sometimes. But I didn't have any problems last night. I didn't see the van rocking at all when I sort of like shuffled in my sleep. So it's a personal preference. And also you have to remember to unwind them if you're hopping off the next day. I'm just out the shower, and before I want to show you the rest of the van, I actually want to point out the blinds. So in here you've got a mix of blinds, and I know that sounds weird, but it actually works really well. These are the roller blind type. They actually they're not like the roller blinds of old. They work really well. They've got fly screens. They go up and down, but they block out a lot of light. There's not as much light coming through those. Whereas concertina blinds, they look nicer, but they have gaps on the edges, so you do get a bit of light coming from those. So I prefer the fact that the ones in the bedrooms are the roller blind type, which block out more light. That's great. The cab blinds, they have a mix again of concertina and roller. The roller bond is at the front. It does let a bit of light in on each side, but actually, if sleeping in the bedroom, I didn't find it affected me. And the concertina blinds, they actually work really well. They have one issue, which I'll explain later about driving, but yeah, they are. I like the fact that these blinds here block out a lot of light, so you do get a good dark van for sleeping. As you just spotted there is a bracket halfway down, so you can actually have your blind halfway up to let a bit of light in, but you know, still have some privacy. So here we are in the lounge. It's a really bright and airy space thanks to the overcab sunlight, the window on the near the travel seats, and then the window in the door plus the cab windows. It makes the best of what is quite a compact area. The cab seats obviously swivel. They're set lower being a forward, so although they're not on the level of the same level as the seats at the back, they're actually a lot more comfy because I can sit here quite comfortably. You know, it's a nice seat to sit in. This is where I spent last night with my feet up, relaxing and reading a book. So this was my seat of choice. There's a cupboard here. It comes with a cushion to stick here, so to match the things, and it's got some adhesive backing on it, so you can stick it on there if you want. I think a lot of people find, the dealer said a lot of people don't stick it on there, they just have it as and when they need it. They just stored it away, and I actually found using one of the scatter cushions was equally as comfy. So yeah, the cupboard is it's got a little coat rack, and a couple of shelves. The shelves are good. There's a deep recess down there. I decided to use those for my shelves. The hanging rail, because it's quite a narrow cupboard that way, the hanging rail doesn't take my conventional sized coat hangers. So what I'd suggest is you maybe look at some smaller ones. You could probably get smaller travel ones that will fit. Under here is the electrics, so it's actually a really easy, convenient spot to access. You just unflop that down, and you've got access to all the electrics. Very good. Battery chargers, fuse boxes, etc. It's all just under there. And then under that seat, there's the water tank. The cushion does come out, the base cushion comes out, and there's a hatch to access it for cleaning, and the pump is under there too. So that is a good size. This does make a single bed, so the table drops down. These legs come in two parts, and you just remove the lower one, it'll stand on there. There's an extra wooden section that sits in the garage. There's two extra wooden bits. One fits across the doorway almost at the end, and then one slots in here and sits on this table and this bracket here. Cushions, use extra cushions as well. I'd suggest it's probably an occasional bed because the table's quite heavy to move. You can't get in and out of the door when the bed's up, and access obviously through the cab doors is pretty not great either. So I probably would use it as an occasional berth, grandkids and the like. There's cupboards up there. There's a good shelf, actually, an open shelf with a decent fiddle rail, so for lighter items. And the TV bracket is on the end of the washroom wall with a socket, mains and 12-volt socket tucked away, and the aerial socket down there as well. So as you can see here, this seat cushion is actually hiding these seat belts right now. So if you're only ever traveling with two of you on board, you might not want to always see them. But simply just plop them out and look, they are both here, and you slide the seat cushion behind them. What's also interesting here is there are fixing points for ISOFIX child seats down here, both two on each seat, so that you can, if they're not really big and bulky, because I know some child seats are really big these days, you can fit two side by side, but remember this is only a 3-berth. The kitchen is one single unit right here. There's a fridge at the end. It's a Dometic compressor fridge, 70 litres. It opens from both sides, so you can actually open it from that way to nip in and get a drink if you're outside. This campsite has a picnic bench outside my pitch, so I was using that last night. And then it opens from this way if you're actually in the van. The shelves, if you look at them, the shelves, they are quite close together, and I would remove the middle one or something to get more bulky stuff in there, but they can be removed. The hob, 2 burners. It says it takes a 16cm pan on this little burner here and a 22cm pan on that burner. It's push to ignite, push and turn. It's a good metal solid pan stand. I did find that this rattled a little bit on the road when I was driving from the dealership to the campsite yesterday. So I'd probably, as you normally do, take a tea towel and stick that on there. It might be that this one rattled too. So this is the sink. It's a roundish sink. It's got a removable drainer. There's a little lip inside the sink for your sponge, so you don't have to get your side messy if you've got a wet sponge. Sink plug hole. You swivel it round. It's good. It feels like a good solid tap. Hot and cold, obviously, with a mixed tap. And then the mains and 12-volt socket is here. So that's where the fridge is, so that is pretty much just a blank wall there. That's the fridge. There is a cutlery drawer. It's a good size, actually, even with a little space for some bigger utensils down the side here. The handle can act as a towel holder, which is quite nice. And then the oven is here. It cooked a lasagna last night for me, ready meal, no probs. And then there's a little cupboard underneath it, and this is where I'm talking about some of the access hatches, because there's another hatch here that you can access some of the plumbing pipes. There's a vent out underneath here as well, so you won't get cold tootsies on a winter's morning. And then there's a tall cupboard. I'd probably think about how I organise this cupboard, maybe with some extra storage or extra shelves in there. It's quite a big space, and but it's not so deep that you can't actually access what's there as well, which is quite neat. And up here we have 3 overhead lockers. They are touch to open, which I'm not so keen on, because I just, especially as they're white, you might end up with grubby finger marks. You might have to carry wet wipes to clean that off. So they are both, if you look at them, they're all big. These 2 are big open shelves. So again, I'd look at some sort of shelving system. You can get them from everywhere. It just adds extra shelves into there. And then this cupboard here, it contains the TV control in the top corner, shelf, nice lip. And then this, which is quite a surprise actually, because you see these extractor fans and they're not often extractor fans, but this one has a vent to the outside. It's got a light, and it's got this vented speed here. So yeah, so it'll vent your cooking smells to the outside, and it's right above the cooker. Really, really good. There is also a drop-in worktop at the end here. There we go. But what's nice is it can go at the end here, or it can go further that way. I'd probably use this if you're going to use a plug-in kettle. I'd probably use that for the kettle and just run the cable around the front temporarily. But also you can get by. It's not so big that you can't get in and out of the door with this still in situ. Okay, so this is the washroom. The door slides across. It helps create a bit of extra space if it's open, I suppose. You can sit here quite comfortably. It's a little high for me, but then most toilets are. There are twin drain holes, but I'll talk to you about the shower later. But I did find that water is gathered in this far end, tucked away down here, the other side, a little bit of water. I'm probably parked a bit nose down, get the levelling wedges out. You'd probably be able to sort that out so that the water flows into these 2 here. There's a vent. It comes straight from the heating unit, so it might get a bit hot in here. So if you've got the heating on, I'd suggest you keep the door open. Electric flush on this toilet. It's a swivel bowl. It's just a conventional cassette toilet, and then just here at the back we have a shelf with 2 decent height to them. There's a small lip, so probably, and you will see that you can get a toilet roll stacked in there quite nicely, because that is the only storage you've got in this washroom, apart from some shower storage. But yeah, it's a good size. But then anything heavy can sit down here in these 2 pockets. They have very deep lips, so they will retain stuff while you're on the road with no fear of it getting dislodged. There are 2 mirrors. I'm not sure why there are two mirrors, but there are two mirrors, quite nice. This black sink with mixer tap. It's quite a nice moulded sink, but I wouldn't have gone for black because I've already got splash marks from my toothpaste in there. So you'd probably spend quite a lot of time cleaning that. A nice towel rail holder here, and the toilet roll holder is just here. It's a bit of a faff to change that because you can't see the connection points for the holder, so you have to get crouched down to get to it. It's a bit of a faff. And then once you're ready to shower, all you do is you literally flip this over, step out, and then swing that round. And as you can see here, it's a good big space. It's really a good big space. There's shelves here. They've also got lips for your toiletries, and then a small shelf for, I don't know, sponge, something there. But these you can travel with stuff in these because there's stuff not going to dislodge from that. The shower rises on it's got a riser bar. You have to press the button and you can raise it. Also tilts, so you can get an angle to it, so you can push it all the way up here. So it's got a good height to it. But remember that when you're storing the shower back, you have to put it back into place because obviously it stores flat against the wall. There is also, tucked away around here, a towel holder in the nice little shape of a B. It's very cute. It holds the towel well, and actually when I was showering, the towel didn't get wet at all, so that's a good thing. Here you can see I've got the bed set up in full double mode. This is like a full length, it's a small extension at the foot here, which makes it a really big bed. I think it's probably recommended if you either want to sleep with three of you, with a small child in the middle, that is doable, or even if you just don't like the idea of having this open space in the middle here for, for falling out and stuff. So there are straps provided so you can keep your feet in place if you want to, but otherwise the most normal mode is to remove these cushions here and this extension. It sits in the garage. I'll just plonk it here for now, and then you have this massive open area, and obviously here you've got access to underbed cupboards. There's one on this side. It's got a couple of shelves, and it sits above a larger area above the heater. And then there's one on this side which has the hanging rail and space for shoes and stuff. But when you want access to the bed, for example, all you need to do is fold down this step and up we go. So what you've got here is a single bed, full length single bed on each side, and a mattresses section in the middle. Just gives you a little bit more elbow room. There is a light. Each one has a USB point in each corner. The mirrored headboard, the mirrored section just gives it a bit more light in this area. It's quite nice. These are the points you attach these safety nets to if you wanted to, just stops your feet going that way if you feel that's necessary. There's a recess, actually a handy recess on each side of these cupboards here, above the USB socket. It's great, actually, the perfect place to plug in your phone and leave your glasses and stuff. Window on either side, blinds, fly screens, and these nice little netted curtains that just sort of like make the area a bit more homely. And then there's a cupboard for each person, again pushed to open, big space. They're a good sized cupboard, but they're a little bit awkward to access, say, unless you're in the bed. So I prefer, and also it makes sitting up in bed a bit more difficult because you just can't. There's no extensions, there's no bolster cushions to help you do that. So you can't really sit up in bed. It's more like can't use them as a daytime lounger area, for example. You could use this one on this side and put your head back against the wall on that side. That's probably doable, and you could probably do it on that side as well. So it's not the be all and end all, I think. But I'd prefer cupboards down each side because you get more cupboards, and also if you just need to nip in and get something in the day, you don't have to clamber all the way over the beds to get to the cupboard. They were comfortable, the mattresses, in the night. I find I prefer a slightly softer bed, so I used an extra sleeping bag to give myself that softness underneath last night. But so I'd probably go for a mattress topper if I was buying this van, because I just like a bit more comfort. And what was nice is that this is a roof vent above me, so it's a proper fan. So you can either blow air in, which is it's actually blowing hot air out at the moment. So during the day, hot air goes out, and then at night it was blowing cool air in. And there's a couple of speeds, so you can get it set so that it's not too noisy, which actually was fine for me. It does have a blind, and it is a good proper blind, unfortunately, and it does stop in various points, so you could have it part open if you wanted to. It does block the flow a little. This is a narrow van, so these single beds aren't going to be as wide as in your conventional width motorhomes, but I didn't find it a problem because you've got your extra arm space at the top here. My only concern with this area, and what I'd like to see, is there's a curtain there that shuts across to this section here as part of for privacy, but it only goes to this height. What would be really lovely if there was a drop-in panel or a sliding wall somewhere at the bottom, so you could use this whole area as a changing area, because at the moment you just see the bottom of you, so you'd be able to fold the steps up, and that could be your changing room. As it is, I had to change in the washroom last night. But there is also a main light switch controls for the light switch here, and that's the control for the other switches. So really practical, really like the way the van works. I mean, I've only had a short time in it, but I would like it with a few changes.
So I'm not sure you'll be able to hear me, but this van drives pretty well. It's got 165 bhp engine, it's not big, so therefore it's not really sort of like taxing it. It's also travelling fairly lately now. The dial is the automatic is easy to drive. The dial is particularly easy. It's got one of those push on, pull on handbrakes things that I'm not completely convinced by, because I never know which way to pull it on or push it off. However, you'll get used to that, and it's the sort of thing it'll become second nature after a while. There's a big display. It's got lane keeping assist, and also a pretty good cruise control system. When I drive it, obviously, I'm fairly comfortable. The seats are low. There's a bit of lumbar support. There's twin armrests should you use them, but I prefer not to. So it's pretty easy to drive. Just hop in it and off you go. The one thing that I would say I have an issue with in this vehicle is that the fitted blinds on the passenger side cab window are not exact. They obscure the vision of my lower side mirror, so I can't really see my side skirts unless I reach up and look down. So to all the drivers, definitely, if you're further back or further up, you definitely wouldn't be as affected by that. But for me, it's a little bit of an issue.
I wouldn't say it's not a big van. It's a great compromise if you're looking to downsize, or you're from a bigger coach built, or you're looking to upsize from a smaller campervan. Just give you a bit more space. The garage is a good size. Beds work well. The lounge it's probably the biggest compromise. It's quite tight. If you want rear seat passengers, you might have to look at the gap between the table, especially if you have a taller driver. I'm short, so the table could be pushed fully forward for when I'm driving, giving the rear passengers a bit more space. But if that driver's seat has to be pushed a bit further back, then it does compromise on the seating space in the lounge. But you can seat 4 or 5 people there quite easily to dine, and because the table's a good size. I would recommend the third berth is probably, I don't know whether you have to judge for yourself whether you think it's comfortable enough, or whether you're just going to leave all the stuff at home. Because if you leave all the stuff at home, that gives you extra payload for toys that you might want to carry. So if you want to do paddle boarding or cycling, then this has got a 3-bike rack as standard, obviously. And that's the great thing about Benimars, is because they've been spec'd by Marquis and designed for the UK market, they do come pretty well specified as standard. There's no big options lists. So you basically, what you see is what you get. There's a solar panel on the roof. It's the big engine. The auto is one of the only options, but this comes with that auto. So I think it's about £2,500 option. And yeah, it's a great little van. I think if you wanted a brand new unregistered one, I think they come in at just under 80. So, but that's still with almost everything on it apart from the auto. So it's a good price, and it's a easy thing to just pick up and drive away from the showroom. And I love the way the Ford drives. Always have done, always will do. Now I'm packing up to hand it to get back to the dealership and hand it back to Marquis. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow us for more great videos coming soon.